All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Noah. This is my final capstone presentation here for my VISTA year. I worked for FOCUS Churches of Albany this past year, and right here is a picture of our wonderful breakfast program and our volunteers. On the left, we have our two Bonners, who are Kayla and Brianna. And then the rest of our volunteers. And on the right is Yolandu, one of our full-time employees with Focus, who helps out with all kinds of things. And on the left is our mission statement: united in a common calling to respond to our neighbors' needs in Albany and beyond as God's servant people in a broken and hurting world. And then here we have a picture of when we did Muslim Soup Kitchen Day in 2021. That was a nice event where we were just handing out some extra food at our pantry, sponsored by I forget the name of the organization. Fred, could you help me out?
It's the Al Hidayah Islamic Center in Latham, a local mosque, not far from Siena.
Yeah, and so they sent some volunteers to help us out. They had a lot of extra food, and we just packed it up, and we're giving it away at our pantry, and then got some extra over to Sheridan Hollow Drop-In Center. Then we had a vaccine pod during the year, which was great. Down at the bottom is one of our great guests who comes in and helps out with getting other people out in the community their breakfasts that are struggling with blindness and other impairments. And so he came and he got his vaccine with us. We were able to offer this. We were the first church and pantry in Albany to offer a vaccine pod. So that was really exciting. Then we had the Brooks Barbecue, which if you're new, you didn't hear about that. But if you were around at the time, I was talking about it a lot in our chats and everything, trying to get everybody to order. It was a really great event. We raised a lot of money. We sold over 600 chicken dinners, and we plan to do 2 this upcoming year. So the next one for Focus is going to be April 19th, and then we'll have one in July. I think it's July 16th. So here's some more pictures of our breakfast volunteers. They're wonderful. They come in at 7 a.m. and or even before 7 a.m. and stay through 8:30. They cook some hot sandwiches with eggs and chicken patties and cheese. And we also give away lunch sandwiches that are cold, and oatmeal, grits, and coffee. And it's a really great program. It's been great to go in and work with these people throughout the year. Focus did a school supply drive for many years, but wasn't able to do it the past couple. So I was able to get that going again. We had some great volunteers. We packed over 60 bags full of kids' school supplies, and we're able to give our pantry guests the bags for their children and give the excess away to a couple schools in the area, Giffen Elementary and KIP. And when I took the stuff over to Giffen Elementary, they had to stop me from bringing in too many boxes because they just didn't have the storage space. So they were able to get a lot of the school supplies they needed for the year. And we also made Christmas bags. These were just extra food to go home with anybody that came to our pantry. Had everything that you would need, including the peanut butter jelly mix, as you can see in the bottom picture. That stuff is really great. Yep. And then we've got like all kinds of cake mixes and candies and stuff, and some other household items. We were able to give away all of those, and yeah, they were really needed. Then we gave away a lot of winter clothing at our breakfast program this year and last year, and CDPHP gave us a large donation of coats, hats, and gloves. And then we got some extra hats and gloves when we ran out of those. And a lot of our breakfast guests have been deeply in need of winter clothing. So all of it is going to use, and it wouldn't be possible without our breakfast program getting direct access to these people that are coming in and asking us for help. So here are some of our great employees and volunteers. On the left is Ron and Yolandu, and then at the bottom row on the next picture, that's Lorraine and Belinda, who work at FOCUS every day. Great employees, really wonderful people that put their all into everything they do. So these are the 6 FOCUS Covenant churches. Westminster Presbyterian Church is where we host our breakfast. Delmar Reformed Church is where we host the barbecue. And Emmanuel Baptist Church is where I work every day. That's where our pantry is. That's where our office, where Fred, Belinda, Lorraine, and I work every day. The other churches are spread out through Albany, and they all have a shared goal of feeding the hungry people. And so they get us volunteers, and they have joint worship services together. And it's a really wonderful group of people that care very much about their community. Here was the volunteer appreciation picnic, and that went off really well. We have some great people here in this picture, and I'm very thankful to all of them for being welcoming, kind people who are very committed to the goal of ending hunger in Albany. So our annual report is up at focuschurches.net. We have some just stats here about the food that we've been able to donate, the volunteer hours, and everything we've been able to give away. And so if you're interested in seeing what FOCUS does, you can check out our website, focuschurches.net. So here's a part of my presentation where I have a bit of a criticism of AmeriCorps overall and an idea for the program moving forward. I've talked with some people like Rose and Rosie about this specifically, and Angelo. So here are the 3 main stated goals of AmeriCorps. And I just find the generate commitment of private sector resources to be pretty interesting. And also the statement that private citizens can contribute on a voluntary basis to meet the challenges confronting low-income communities. So I think that's pretty clear that anybody can improve their community on a voluntary basis, but I want to ask, what the hell? Why are these stated goals instead of making the government take steps to meet the challenges confronting low-income communities? It's on the skilled youth of this country to work on these complex societal issues for poverty wages. And instead of taxing and redistributing private sector resources, it's on us to supplicate charity from corporations, hoping they see our individual sites and the poor in their own communities as deserving of financial assistance. So I found this, I didn't really read through the handbook until recently. So I found these 2 things somewhat concerning, and I think that we need to maybe take steps to address them. So in the 4 core principles of VISTA, number 1 is ending poverty, as I think we all know, but 2 is empowering communities. And I feel like this sort of gets overlooked a bit in a lot of the work that we're all doing. And I think that needs to be a bigger focus overall of what VISTA is working on. So in terms of ending poverty, here is the American poverty rate. And here, that red marking is where AmeriCorps started. And overall, there hasn't been much of a change in the overall poverty, and those living below 50% of the poverty level seem to be rising. So have VISTAs been eliminating the need for their job over the past 50 years? And I don't think we really have. We've been kind of failing in that first core principle of eliminating poverty. So just this past year, 6 months of the extended child tax credit lifted 3 million children out of poverty and reduced overall child poverty by 25%. And 2 stimulus checks brought 11.7 million people above the poverty line. So money seems to be the answer, but what can we do with no money? And so I think our answer is that we can take collective action. We have, the VISTA program has a strong strength in that it brings together young people from many different backgrounds with many different skills And we all then, the weakness of AmeriCorps is that we all then go to different sites, work on different projects away from each other, and never really work as a team, except for team building days, which never really seem to be working on building the team up rather than just focusing on our different problems we're all encountering at our work sites. So I went through the handbook to find, just to make sure that we could all work together on projects that are not necessarily related to our sites, not necessarily just work for the site, but work for the community that we do together. And I think that that's possible. So my idea is that every VISTA should be collaborating on one project. I think that this could really be something that would set the program apart. And here's my idea. This is going to look really crazy, so stay with me. So school gardens. If we can get more gardens in schools, then we're having a giant impact on not only the children, but the community in general by connecting everybody in this giant spider web. So so to start off, we have school gardens that we can have Rosie, who is at the ACE office. There's a pretty unique position where she'll be working as a VISTA, but she doesn't have a site. So my idea is that she would work as the coordinator and delegator to get all of the tasks and the committees on track to be successfully carrying out this project. We have the entire support of the ACE office. We have Next and Bonner associates to help out. Then we have the regional food bank where my girlfriend Allie works and will be there for a while, and she works directly with Feed and Read and Hattis. Then there's Rose, who's also connected into that program where they're in the schools, they're working or Allie's position is the children's program coordinator. So they're making contact with teachers and administrators in these schools. They have connections, and their goals are to get these kids food. So we have all of these people that are in place that want to be getting children in school healthy food. But at the same time, Rose's project is constantly giving kids higher sodium and less healthy foods than they want to be offering. So the goal of getting gardens in schools is to get kids healthier food on a regular basis. Then we have Kevin at Capital Roots. Capital Roots has gardens all over the city. And so we could, I've already spoken with someone at Capital Roots and Kevin slightly about this. And instead of building a garden from scratch, we can get schools that are nearby a garden to connect with that garden and have the kids go there and start working instead of building something from scratch. Then on the left, we have Ellie, who is the Empire State After School Program Coordinator, working on after school programming for children in these schools, also very connected to the schools. And then she's working with the Boys and Girls Club as well. I know that Famous is the VISTA for Boys and Girls Club in Troy, and that there's interest there in getting gardening programs going. So that corner is more people that are working directly with children, and the Connect Center with Alex, working directly with children that have an interest in programming related to gardening. And then at the top left, we have the food pantries, another major food distributor in Albany, where Angela was the VISTA and Alex currently is the VISTA. And so they are working on, feeding people throughout Albany, and they have a similar goal of getting these children healthy foods. So up at the top left, there's Radix, Soulfire Farm, Roxbury Farms, who I think are also interested parties, but I haven't spoken with about this, but I've met people at all three of those organizations. Then the top right are Georgia, Sierra, and alumni like me, who their sites are not necessarily related to food services or children, but can be a part of the work that we're doing, such as writing grants for a program like this. Then at the bottom is the vegetable project. I've been meeting with this man, Bill, who runs it. He's already in the schools. He's working on several projects already related to hunger in schools. And he's currently going into schools, making little greenhouses out of milk jugs, and has some gardens already set up at schools. So he's a great resource that has a lot of connections and a drive to get more gardens in schools. So why school gardens? So I've mentioned some of these reasonings already. The Capital School District of Albany children are undernourished. They're eating unhealthy foods, or they're not eating enough food in the first place. Feed and Read is limited in providing fresh vegetables, and they're providing food with too much sodium. Food insecurity rose during the pandemic, and most harshly on vulnerable households with children, and the pandemic has kept kids indoors and online for 2 years. The goal of this project would be to provide hungry children with more fresh produce, develop relationships between the many VISTA sites, but like these are stronger connections than just us working together on team building days. And then install sustainable gardens for long-term school programming, create new educational experience for children, and improve the ACE office's reputation. This could be something that could potentially be modeled by different VISTA cohorts across the nation. So another slide about why school gardens. So there's a lot of research on the effects of kids working outdoors in gardens. We know that when a kid knows where their food is coming from, they're more likely to make healthier food choices about vegetables and fruits. And a kid who grows a vegetable that is usually not enjoyed by children is more likely to taste it when they've grown it. Class space for hands-on learning activities. The garden provides class space for hands-on learning activities over many disciplines. And so that can be anything from environmental sciences and biology to business and entrepreneurship, and just general, like getting kids outside, any class that needs to have some outdoor time. And it's especially good for students who do not do well in traditional classes. A lot of kids that don't do well, like sitting in a class or sitting still, can actually become leaders in outdoor classrooms and receive positive reinforcement. We also know that time spent in the natural environment improves physical and mental development of children. This has been shown across many studies. And also, this is sort of similar to the earlier points about children learning where the vegetables come from and getting to taste it. They're more likely to make better choice when nutrition is presented as a choice and it's not a lecture about what you should and must eat. Then this also directly ties the local community and schools to the nonprofits in our area, providing potentially a new source of volunteers and a new generation of interested young people. This also would create a new habitat for local wildlife, beautifying the school, and give children a sense of ownership or stewardship for their school. So that's just my pitch on school gardens and how I think that it could improve the VISTA program. And so that's all I've got.